Good afternoon. Thanks for joining Sports4CLE. I'm Dave Bacon. We'll talk a little Indians baseball. They're wrapping up their series in Detroit against the Tigers, trying to take 3 out of 4. We'll also hear from Dennis Gates, Cleveland State men's basketball coach. Will be joining us a little bit later. But we begin by being joined by the D-Man, Dennis Manoloff of WTAM. He will be on the air a little bit later on WTAM, so you can join him on TAM tonight. Dennis, appreciate the time. Let's begin by talking a little bit of Cleveland Browns football. So Bleacher Report ranks the biggest questions for each team heading into the season. And for the Browns, the big question is, will the Browns rookie class live up to the hype that they have got for assembling it?
You know what? That's a good question to ask, but let me start with my question would be, how good can Baker Mayfield be? I mean, I think that would be a fascinating question that we will see how the answer unfolds this season. But what exactly is Baker Mayfield's ceiling? Because I felt like, last year he did an excellent job in a comeback year, a bounce back year. But how dynamic a player can he be? But to the Bleacher Report question about the rookie class, of course, you're going to want to see Newsome perform well. I mean, they drafted him in the first round for a reason. They needed a corner, and he's talented, so you figure he's going to get a lot of reps, a lot of playing time. J.O.K., the Joker, should be in there a lot. Jeremiah Owusu. And, some of the other guys in that draft class, including Anthony Schwartz. But I'll say this, Dave, when I look at Andrew Berry's tenure with the Browns, I'm looking at 2 drafts. And last year's draft really was an unproven group, and partly because of injuries, specifically to Grant Delpit. So I'm actually combining these 2 draft classes, last year's and this year's, and hoping to see a lot of contribution from those 2 classes combined, because you think about Delpit, you think about Elliott, among others in that draft class, Jordan Elliott, that they have high hopes for, Jacob Phillips. So I'm thinking it could be a really good year for the Browns' first and second year players.
And you bring up an interesting point, D-Man. How much of it is on the talent that you draft, and how much of it is on having coaches that can develop young talent to play in the system that you want?
I mean, yeah, Dave, that's an age-old question, and the answer typically is you've got to have a good coaching staff in the NFL if you want to go places. I mean, we've seen supremely talented players go to destinations that don't look like they have really good coaching, and guess what? Nothing happens, or that player doesn't ascend and does not continue to improve. So you definitely need a competent coaching staff, especially today's NFL, when I should say all times in the NFL. I don't want to denigrate the Hank Strams and the Vince Lombardis and the Paul Browns. You need great coaching at any point in the NFL timeline. But in today's game, where it's really, really complex and there's so much data, I think that it is really, really important that you have a good coaching staff and a good system.
All right. Having said that, let's go back to Baker Mayfield. Look at what he kind of was saddled with. Hugh Jackson, and, I gave Hugh Jackson the benefit of the doubt. 1-31 kind of did not set well. And then Freddie Kitchens. So is this is it any surprise that Baker Mayfield took off in the first year under Kevin Stefanski? And do you expect significant growth in year 2?
Yes, I do. I do expect significant growth from the Bake Show now that he is comfortable in Stefanski's system, and it comes back intact. Pretty much everybody's coming back in terms of not only his skill position guys but his coaching staff. So this is not going to be one of those learn on the fly years for Baker Mayfield. He's going to have that continuity that quarterbacks crave. And by the way, they crave competent continuity. I mean, you don't want to have a coach who's not good and he's coming back for another year, and you're like, oh, we really have to play for this guy. But as far as, did it surprise me that Mayfield played well last year? Not really, because Stefanski had done good things with Kirk Cousins in Minnesota, and admittedly Stefanski wasn't the only one. I mean, Kubiak was in on it, and of course Mike Zimmer was the head coach. But you saw the system, you saw the philosophy of Stefanski play out in this past year, and it suited Baker Mayfield. And so I wasn't all that surprised to see Baker have success under Stefanski.
So let's shift gears just a little bit. Adam Schefter, ESPN, poses the question. The question was posed to him, actually. Can Buffalo and Cleveland, two franchises with rabid fan bases, become longtime contenders as they are constructed? Let's listen to Adam Schefter.
Can two cities known for football heartbreak, Buffalo and Cleveland, turn into perennial winners? Only 12 teams have yet to win a Super Bowl. Arizona, Atlanta, Buffalo, Carolina, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Detroit, Houston, Jacksonville, Minnesota, the Chargers, and Tennessee. But no two cities, aside from Buffalo and Cleveland, have become more adept at manufacturing football sadness. Whether it was wide right,
no good,
the fumble,
the ball, and Denver has recovered. Oh my!
Or the drive, Buffalo and Cleveland have raised hopes and then crushed them. This season, behind two quarterbacks from the same 2018 draft class, hopes are high. Buffalo is coming off its first division title in 25 years.
It is touchdown incomplete. In the last second, the Bills win it. The Bills advance.
Cleveland is coming off its first playoff win in 26 years.
The Browns lead 27-0. This is an amazing story.
And now, the Bills and Browns look to be even better. Dare we say favorites in the AFC? Maybe. But there aren't any NFL cities that would savor a Super Bowl parade any more than the ones who have produced so much sadness.
It's a valid point and a valid question.
Yeah, Schefter put up the logos of the teams who haven't won a Super Bowl. He could have eliminated the majority of them. At least they were there. I mean, the Browns haven't even been to a Super Bowl, so the heartache is that much worse. I gotta say, Dave, I do get nervous when I hear and watch things like that. No knock on Shefty, he's a legend. But that feels a little too much. It feels like a little too much hype, because the Baltimore Ravens are sitting back going, oh, that's interesting. Here goes the Cleveland Browns hype train. Everybody loves the Cleveland Browns. Even the Steelers are sitting there going, oh, that's funny. We're the defending AFC North champion. Admittedly, we've undergone a lot of change, and our offensive line, specifically has been turned over, but we still have Ben Roethlisberger and some pretty darn good wideouts, and we have some pieces on defense and whatnot. So the Steelers are going, oh, that's great. Yeah, the Browns are getting hyped again. The Kansas City Chiefs, who have been to the last two Super Bowls and won it 2 years ago, they're like, oh, yeah, okay. The Bills are ascending and the Browns are ascending. What happened in last year's postseason? We beat the Browns with 2.5 quarters of Patrick Mahomes, and we went to they came to us. Buffalo came to us, and we beat them to go to the Super Bowl. So just those teams in particular, the Steelers, the Ravens, and the Chiefs, will go, all right, you can talk all you want about the ascending Browns and the ascending Bills, but what have they really done? I mean, yeah, the Bills won the division. I'm pretty sure, yeah, they did. But the Browns haven't won a division. So I would say pump the brakes a little bit on this hype train.
Yeah, fair enough. But again, the roster is as good as it's been in quite a while. Dennis Manoloff and I, the D-Man, we're going to step aside, take a quick time out. On the other side of the break, another ESPN analyst answers Bills or Browns for the upcoming season, which one he likes better. And is Baker Mayfield a system quarterback? We'll dive into that. Sports4CLE will be right back. Stay with us.
Life is starting to get back on track, and you can too. If you or your family have experienced financial hardship as a result of COVID-19, Tri-C can help with full tuition assistance. Safely get the in-demand degree or training you need with online and on-campus classes. Go to tric-edu to check out our programs and resources. So, what are you waiting for? Register now for summer classes. Tri-C is where futures begin.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Sports4CLE continues. I'm Dave Bacon. We continue talking Browns football with the D-Man, Dennis Manoloff. Well, another one of the ESPN NFL guys, Marcus Spears, was asked, take a pick. Who do you like better this year, Buffalo or Cleveland?
Yeah, Marcus, obviously the Chiefs king in the AFC, but which of these two teams in the Bills and the Browns do you like better heading into the season?
It's the Browns, and I can't believe I'm saying it. And for the sake of Buffalo Bills Mafia, don't hate me. But this is what this is predicated off of. Listen, when you look at, and we talking about on paper, we in the off season right now, so we on paper. But when you look at what Cleveland did, just like Mina just mentioned, Gregory Rousseau and Basham coming in the draft, the Cleveland Browns went out and got Jadeveon Clowney to line up opposite of Myles Garrett. Not only that, they were an injury-riddled secondary last year. They will have Grant Delpit back. They drafted Newsome in the draft. Obviously, Hill and Johnson going over is a huge deal. I believe this defense will be a top 5 unit. And then offensively, the reason why I say it more than anything is that Baker Mayfield is not going to have to be in the MVP conversation for the Cleveland Browns to make a Super Bowl run. Josh Allen will be. He'll have to be.
Let's bring back in the D-Man, Dennis Manoloff, and all very valid points. And I'll say this, if the Browns' defense is as good as some people think it can be, they're going to go and make a deep playoff run.
Yeah, I mean, I like Marcus Spears a lot, and he's right that it is just the offseason. That's where my tempered enthusiasm is. I don't want to get sucked down the rabbit hole of being too excited about the Browns, only to be let down as I was 2 years ago. But we mentioned this on a previous program, Dave, the difference between the hype machine 2 years ago and the hype machine this offseason is winning and losing. I mean, they were coming off a losing season 2 years ago. This year, they're coming off a winning season, 11-5, and they won a playoff game. So I think there's a lot more validity to the optimism. And yeah, if the Browns can stay healthy, they figure to be formidable. But I guess it's the case with almost every NFL team, Dave. Injuries are going to happen. Okay, it's just the nature of the NFL. Not for long, NFL takes on a lot of meanings, and one of them is, based in attrition. So teams are going to get banged up. The question is, who's going to get hurt, and how's your depth? So, and also regarding Browns who are coming back this year, I got to see Greedy Williams on an NFL field. By the way, another member of the 2020 draft class. I forgot to mention him along with Delpit and Elliott and Phillips. But I got to see Greedy Williams on an NFL field week after week in regular season games and see how the shoulder holds up. I got to see Grant Delpit after the Achilles on an NFL field in regular season games week after week with the explosion that he had when we watched him at LSU. Those are two that jump out. And the all-important Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, Clowney has the potential to be a game wrecker. I mean, we've seen it. But there's a huge asterisk there because Clowney has struggled to be healthy. So I'll believe it when I see it with Clowney as far as his ability to impact the game week in and week out.
Yeah, no question about that. Now, let's switch focus a little bit. Baker Mayfield, is he a system quarterback, or do you think he's more than that?
The answer to that, I'm going to quote my favorite analyst other than Dave Bacon, and that would be Greg Cosell, the legendary NFL Films ESPN analyst. Greg Cosell said a couple of weeks ago when I heard it, at least for the first time I heard it, he said every quarterback is a system quarterback. He said, that's just the nature of the game. Find me a quarterback who's having success, and I'll find you a system that he's playing in. So I don't think what Greg's point is that it's not a derogatory statement to say a player is a systems quarterback or a system quarterback. But the point is, though, I think in the vernacular, it's like, well, can this guy rise above maybe the talent around him or the coaching around him? Can he transcend that and still be great? Therefore, not be pigeonholed by a system or not have to survive outside of a system. When you think of a Kirk Cousins, when you think of, for now, a Baker Mayfield, you're thinking of guys who are able to have success in systems, and you wonder, can they do it outside the system? Or if, plays break down as an example. I guess when I'm thinking of quarterbacks who have succeeded outside of a system, I think the first name that comes to mind for me is Brett Favre. That type of player who is, you think, drawing up plays in the dirt and incredible when it came to broken plays, that type of deal. So I don't have any issues with Baker Mayfield being called a system quarterback as long as the system is good, and it is good under Kevin Stefanski and Alex Van Pelt.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing is part of being a good coach is finding a quarterback that can run the system you want to run. So I think the two go hand in hand. So let's move on. NFL.com has 5 teams that should be, quote-unquote, all in on wide receiver Julio Jones. Numbers them 1 through 5. Number 1, New England Patriots. Number 2, the Cleveland Browns. 3 is the Colts, 4 is the 49ers, and 5 is the Ravens. Now, I get what they're thinking. They're thinking, Browns, and you've said, that there's the hype train, and they're thinking another guy like Julio Jones, another weapon, might be able to push them over the top. What do you make of this?
I think the odds are very slim that the Browns get Julio Jones in here. For starters, who are you going to sub out? I mean, you can't tell me you're going to have Julio Jones, Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Rashard Higgins. I'm not saying Hodge isn't expendable. I mean, they just brought him in, but I just don't. I think there's too much there, and you're not going to be able to pay everybody anyway. So I don't see it happening. As great a player as Julio Jones is, there are other teams who need him more, especially if you're the Browns and you think that Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be good to go and he's going to be explosive, then I think you appreciate Julio Jones' talent, but you don't bring him in.
The D-Man, Dennis Manoloff, and I are going to step aside, take a quick time out. On the other side of the break, we're going to look at Myles Garrett playing some basketball, and this one is it's pretty impressive. Also, Players Union agrees to a ceiling, so the top level of a salary cap for 2022. It's a big jump up from this season. Sports4CLE will be right back. Stay with us.
Life is starting to get back on track, and you can too. If you or your family have experienced financial hardship as a result of COVID-19, Tri-C can help with full tuition assistance. Safely get the in-demand degree or training you need with online and on-campus classes. Go to tric-edu to check out our programs and resources. So, what are you waiting for? Register now for summer classes. Tri-C is where futures begin.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Welcome back to Sports4CLE. I'm Dave Bacon. We continue talking Browns football with the D-Man, Dennis Manoloff. Take a look at this. Myles Garrett playing some basketball, and if you have any idea or any doubt at all of what kind of athlete Myles Garrett is, take a look at him dunking a basketball. It's actually pretty impressive. Yeah, I don't think I'm going up to contest that. Neither does the guy who's behind the play watching it. Let's bring back in the D-Man. And Dennis, sometimes you just get out of the way and say, all right, we're just giving you that too there.
Since Myles Garrett came into the league, we've known him as a Renaissance man, a man of many talents, instruments, dinosaurs, you name it. He's really an intellectual and an athlete. And, you see that and you go, okay, correctly called by Dave Bacon, get out of the way. But don't forget about the handle when you watch that clip. I mean, he manages to go behind the back in a rather smooth transition. He moves up the court. So, Myles is a beast. He's a freak. He's a monster. I cannot wait to see Myles Garrett for 16 games, Dave. Don't forget. I want to see Myles Garrett for 17 games just wreck the league because he has scratched the surface of that. He's flashed it, but I want to see him dominate Aaron Donald style. I mean, I know there's only one Aaron Donald. All right. So Aaron Donald 2.0 is no shame at all. I want to see that caliber of game wrecking every single week. And I think Myles is capable of doing it.
Yeah, he was on his way to doing that, and then kind of got derailed with COVID a season ago. The other thing is if you're a quarterback and you're looking at that, good luck. What am I supposed to do to get away from that? Let's shift our focus just a little. So, Players Union has agreed to set the 2022, so the salary cap, not this upcoming season, the next season, when the Browns have some extensions due, at $208.2 million as a cap. So it won't go any higher than $208.2 million. Point of reference, this year's cap, $182.5. So there's a big jump. Browns have some extensions, a number of them: Baker Mayfield, Denzel Ward, Chubb, Teller, fill in the blank. But you're going to get a jump of almost $40 million, which comes at a good time if you're the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, Dave. And, I expect three guys from around the league, specifically their representation, to approach their respective teams. Josh Allen with the Bills, Lamar Jackson with the Ravens, and Baker Mayfield with the Browns. Three members of that 18 draft class, that quarterback class. None of them has I know Baker has. I think Lamar has signed anything extensive, and neither has Allen. So if I'm the representatives of those three guys, I'm going into the respective front offices and saying, all right, now that we have cost certainty here, let's see if we can't hammer out a deal for our client. And, so that'll be interesting. But, yes, as far as the Browns specifically, some guys need to get paid, and this helps, I would think, move that train along the tracks, because now what kind of a cap you're dealing with.
Yeah, and, the other thing is those three guys are, whoever signs first is probably going to have the guy signing after him get more money, and the guy after him more money. So it'll be an interesting dynamic as those three quarterbacks all negotiate. So along the lines of guys signing, and you alluded to this, Kadarius Hodge signed his $2.133 million tender, so he stays with the Browns. He announced that on Instagram just about this time yesterday, maybe a little later than this. But again, Browns keep that receiver room that they liked, all the pieces in place.
Yeah, I mean, Hodge is an interesting depth piece. You hope he can help you along the way in certain spots. And, God forbid one of the big boys gets injured, then his role is elevated. But, I'm looking forward to, as a Browns follower, as someone who wants to see the Browns succeed, I'm looking to Odell Beckham Jr. returning as close to 100% as possible. I'm looking at Jarvis doing Jarvis things. I want to see Rashard Higgins continue to ascend, continue to blossom, as Baker Mayfield, his chemistry with Mayfield is well documented. And also Donovan Peoples-Jones as a possibility for making plays. We saw him make a few of them last year. I list those guys ahead of my expectations for Kadarius Hodge, but good for Hodge and good for the Browns.
Yeah, a guy that played special teams too, so there's that dual role that the Browns look to Hodge for. D-Man and I going to step aside, take one more timeout. On the other side of the break, Bleacher Report has guys from every team that should seek a trade. We'll tell you who their guy from the Browns is. And Pro Football Focus, analytics-driven website, ranks the top centers. Browns center is ranked pretty highly. We'll tell you where. Sports4CLE, we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Life is starting to get back on track, and you can too. If you or your family have experienced financial hardship as a result of COVID-19, Tri-C can help with full tuition assistance. Safely get the in-demand degree or training you need with online and on-campus classes. Go to tric-edu to check out our programs and resources. So, what are you waiting for? Register now for summer classes. Tri-C is where futures begin.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Sports4CLE continues. I'm Dave Bacon. We continue talking Browns football with the D-man, Dennis Manoloff. And Dennis, so the Bleacher Report has veterans on each and every team who should seek a trade. For the Browns, they say tight end David Njoku should. Now, Njoku, you know, said he wasn't happy last year. Yeah, exactly. Supposedly he's at peace and happy where he is. I get the thought, though, you know, guy in his last year of his contract, his rookie deal, they did pick up the fifth-year option, and probably not going to get a whole lot of targets. That's not fair. He's not going to get significant amount of targets because it's going to be split three ways between the tight ends.
Yeah, in one sense, I don't blame Njoku for being restless because of what you just said. And when they bring in an Austin Hooper and they draft a Harrison Bryant, you start to go, all right, if you're Njoku, what am I doing? But on the other hand, you know, the selfish Browns fan in me wants David Njoku here. And even if his contributions come in fits and starts, even if they're bit pieces, he could still be part of the mosaic of a special team. It's easy for us to say. You know, it's easy for us to tell a guy, hey, why don't you just accept your role and recognize you're not going to be getting a ton of balls, but when they come to you, be ready to make the spectacular play, specifically in the end zone. Easy for us to tell him that, but I see an element that Njoku brings to the tight end room that is pretty special. That athleticism, that leaping ability. You know, he makes some really incredible plays, and that's why the Browns want him around as long as possible. So, I mean, Njoku's name will be in the news as far as potential trade for probably as long as he's with the Browns. But as long as he's here, I just, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing him on Sundays.
Yeah.
Or Mondays or Saturdays or whatever other days they play these days.
And he's an intriguing guy, a young guy, a lot of different skills that he brings to that tight end position. So Pro Football Focus, analytics-driven website, has ranked the the centers. They did do the tight ends, but we're going to talk about centers. Ranked number 1, Rodney Hudson, Arizona. 2, Corey Linsley, the Chargers. 3, Frank Ragnow from the Detroit Lions. Number 4, J.C. Tretter from the Cleveland Browns. And that's a guy, you know, the one thing you don't question is J.C. Tretter's toughness.
Oh, there's no question about it. No question about not questioning Tretter's toughness. He's unbelievable. I mean, the injuries that we understood him to have played with because he wasn't, you know, going on Zoom every week publicizing it. But this is a guy who clearly was banged up. You have to – I don't know what you have to do to get him off the field because he's that much of a gamer. You know, he's incredibly bright, which you need at the center position. Obviously has really good chemistry with Baker, the anchor of that offensive line that you're excited about, left to right. So J.C. Tretter is a very valuable piece for the Cleveland Browns. Absolutely.
And you mentioned that line, and that takes me into the next thing. So Pro Football Focus ranked all the different positions. Tretter, 4th best center. Bitonio, 4th best guard. Wyatt Teller, 9th best guard. Jack Conklin, 12th best tackle. So 4/5 of the Browns' offensive line rank in the top 12 at their position groupings. It's pretty easy to see why they think the Browns have the best offensive line in the NFL.
Yeah, David, I'll tell you this. We know here in Cleveland that you could rename PFF BFF. Best friends forever, Browns friends forever, Browns football focus, because the Browns and PFF are linked. They are like wed together. The Browns want to be as high up on the PFF rankings as possible, and therefore the PFF rankings love the Browns. So it doesn't surprise me at all when players or units in a particular on a particular team or a particular Browns team are ranked highly by PFF. And yeah, I mean, across the board, it's fun to think about Jed Wills as the left tackle, and Bitonio, the grizzled veteran at left guard, and Tretter, the veteran at center, and then Teller, the beast mauler at right guard. Right guard, and then right tackle is Conklin. If they can stay healthy, it is a heck of a line.
Do you expect? I expect Wills to take a huge leap. I thought he passed the eye test pretty easily. He looked like what you want in a young left tackle. I think once Bill Callahan gets him and is able to get his hands on him and practice with him and get him even more acclimated to that side of football, I expect him to take a pretty significant step forward.
I agree with you. Number one, because Jed Wills has the mindset. He has the work ethic. He wants it badly. He wants to be great. Number two, he has the skills to match the desire. Number three, he has the legendary Callahan coaching and Bill Callahan. You figure at the end of the year, in the exit interviews, if not earlier, but Callahan was probably giving his line, okay, this is your to-do list in the offseason. This is what you have to work on if you want to continue to be good, or if you want to get to be great. And I'm sure Wills went to work on the homework, and I can't wait to see Jed Wills in year 2.
The D-man, Dennis Manoloff, as always, appreciate the time, Dennis. I know you've got an air shift coming up. Tell us about it. Promote what you're doing tonight here.
Yeah, WTM 1100, 106.9 FM. I've got the big show tonight, 7 to mid. So it's going to be wild. I did my prep before this show, so I got the homework done. But yeah, thank you for letting me promote that. 106.9 FM, 1100 AM tonight, 7 to midnight.
All right, you can call in and talk to Dennis Manoloff. D-Man, as always, appreciate the time and the insight. Dennis Manoloff. We're going to step aside, take a quick time out. On the other side of the break, we are going to be joined by Cleveland State men's basketball head coach Dennis Gates. Signed an extension recently. We'll talk to Dennis about that, as well as who's coming back and what he's trying to build with the Cleveland State Vikings. Sports4CLE will be right back. Stay with us.
Life is starting to get back on track, and you can too. If you or your family have experienced financial hardship as a result of COVID-19, Tri-C can help with full tuition assistance. Safely get the in-demand degree or training you need with online and on-campus classes. Go to tric-edu to check out our programs and resources. So, what are you waiting for? Register now for summer classes. Tri-C is where futures begin.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Four players die for it. Gomillion picks it up. The first one goes down.
Welcome back to Sports for CLE. I'm Dave Bacon. We shift our focus to college basketball. Cleveland State Vikings signed head coach Dennis Gates to an extension. Let's welcome in Dennis Gates. We call you a friend of the program. You've joined us from out of town when you're getting ready for an NCAA game. Joined us on your birthday, so we think it's only right to have you back when you've agreed to a contract extension. First of all, congratulations. Glad you're going to be here in Cleveland for a few more years. Just take me through the emotions and you know, how much you thought about signing this extension, what it meant to you.
Absolutely. I'm first and foremost humbled that President Sands and Scott Garrett will believe in me for a longer period of time, as we know that this profession is very transitional with the coaching world. I'm thankful that they believe in me and my staff to lead, be an ambassador not only for our campus, but the city of Cleveland. And I am thrilled, man. I'm very much so thrilled to be here. Cleveland is home, and it's definitely love coming from both directions.
So take me through, you've got some guys that are coming back that have decided to take the NCAA up on that extra year of eligibility. Tell me who's coming back and what that means to the program.
Well, obviously, to have our seniors be able to exercise what the NCAA granted them in another year of eligibility due to the COVID-19 pandemic and whatever unreasonable schedules they functioned on. Torrey Patton, first team all-league guy, proud to say he's gotten his degree, but he'll also be returning. And that's some added experience that we are looking forward to. Craig Baudouin, a point guard, same way. He earned his degree and he will be returning. So those guys, in a nutshell, could have gone elsewhere. They, I'm sure, could have been in the portal and highly recruited, but they believe in our institution. They believe in our leadership. And I truly believe they believe in building what and continuing to build what they've already built these last 2 seasons here at Cleveland State under me and my staff.
What does it mean to you to have the loyalty from those players? You mentioned, Torrey Patton was an all-league player. Yeah. He certainly could have gone in the portal. What does it mean as the coach that they're showing you that kind of loyalty?
Well, I think what it says is not just myself, but the environment at Cleveland State University is allowing them to feel at home. It fills them with joy to be representing a institution, a city of such, but also invigorating our crowd base, our fan base, the way that they have. No one but them believed that they would be where they were toward the end of our season, and that is into the NCAA tournament. But you and I know, as celebrated as that feat was, they wanted more. They wanted to win games in the tournament and go to the Final Four, win a national championship. But we have some great young men that allowed our environment to refine them, but also they've become champions on the court, in the classroom, and in our community, and they wear that jersey with pride.
What's the message to the team as you get ready? You won the Horizon League, you made it to the NCAA tournament. Those are 2 things that you want. Those are 2 goals.
Absolutely.
What's the message to this team then?
The message is to reset and rebuild. That's ultimately what it is. What last year was last year. We get to reset ourselves, but also build on top of what we've accomplished. I don't want those guys to ever have amnesia and forget what they had to endure to get to where we were, cutting down nets, holding up trophies, but also reset themselves to understand that we're not complacent by one means or another, but we want to continue to have that same work ethic as we build towards something different. Last year's team is last year's team, and hopefully last year's team become inducted into the Cleveland State University Hall of Fame at some point in time. This year's team has a different identity. These guys are different. They're going to get better. They're going to work. They're going to continue to grow. And we're excited about whatever we can obviously build toward in our future. And it's very bright. The one thing I would say is we're very excited about opening these doors for our fans and allowing them to witness that special characteristics and culture that we are building and we are proud of. So that is the one element that we're definitely focused on as we reset and rebuild.
How did Cleveland, how did the community kind of embrace Cleveland State as they won that Horizon League and went into the NCAA? What did you notice, and what was that like from your perspective as the head coach?
I said all along, right, that our fan base is one of the most supportive fan base and obviously loudest fan base there is. And we're right in that footprint with the Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Indians, and Cleveland Cavs. And we know what happens in those venues when a winner is performing night in and night out. Our fans here in this city in Northeast Ohio has been invigorated with spirit as it relates to being able to definitely come in and support us. I definitely do believe if those doors was open, we would have some sellouts without a doubt, and our guys deserve it. But moving forward, we're going to have some sellouts, and I definitely encourage you all out there listening to grab some tickets, support these young men as we continue to build, and we can't do it without you.
How has recruiting been? I know you're out, there's dead periods, but have you seen people kind of excited about what's going on downtown Cleveland at Cleveland State?
Absolutely. Recruiting, I mean, the portals are opening across the country as it relates to COVID-19 and the vaccinations and different things like that. So everyone has been sheltered and obviously respecting the scary part of COVID. But most importantly, everyone is waiting for that breath of fresh air to get out and obviously recruit and obviously go out there and evaluate. The NCAA granted us a June period where we can recruit in 2 different weekends, but also in July. Those are 2 months that I'm looking forward to seeing these young people, especially in Northeast Ohio and in our state. There's no doubt about it, to win championships. The last 2 Cleveland State University championship teams, we've had 2 kids from Dayton, and that's Norris Cole and Torrey Patton. And Torrey is quick to point out that stat, by the way. But I'm excited to get out there and build our relationships. Obviously, that was impeded by, the shelter in place and different things like that, dealing with COVID. Re-socializing is something that we all are looking forward to. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you guys in our stands and in our seats. So here we are.
What about the experience of making it to the NCAA? Is that being on the big stage in that tournament? What was that like? What did you learn from that? What did your kids learn from it?
They learned a lot. And getting there was not easy. Every minute, every second of each game could have went against us, but we fought and stayed together and we competed and did what we had to do to become champions. No matter what, whenever someone raises a banner and hold up a trophy, there's many stories that within that season that you can share that says, how did we overcome such? One prime example is triple overtime game against IPFW at home. How did we overcome such? No different than being down against Milwaukee in the semifinals and getting a loose ball, Trey Gomillion dunks, and we take a lead and one for the first time under a minute. And those are moments that you have to continue to fight for, but also that's the excitement of a game. The ups and downs of a game, they come and go, but our kids, they withstood the test and are called champions for a reason.
You've had a lot of successes in the first 2 years. What puts the biggest smile on your face?
Well, I'll tell you this, man. I held up the trophy, I cut down nets, but nothing compares for me as a head coach. Nothing compares at Progressive Field, watching our first recruiting class Torrey Patton, Franklin Penn Jr., and Craig Baudouin walk across the stage and receive their degrees. Watching a kid in that moment, obviously the looks on their faces of pride, the looks on their parents' faces in support. Remember, parents couldn't support our young people in the crowd this season, but seeing the faces in that moment was very exciting, and I was overcome with definitely a lot of emotions watching our guys graduate.
Now, the other thing is you've had a lot of success on the court. I know you've had a lot of success in the classroom. Tell me about the successes that the basketball program has had in the classroom, because I know those are equally important to you.
Well, I think ultimately in the classroom and off the court, we try to build champions, and that's what we focus on, the entire holistic approach of a young man. And hopefully one day down the road, they can impact no different than the city of Cleveland has impacted them, no different than Cleveland State University has impacted them, no different than our campus leadership has impacted them. President Sands, Athletic Director Scott Garrett, me and my staff, we want to just continue to impact kids so they can build a bridge for others and impact the communities that they do at some point call home after their time here in Cleveland and Cleveland State University. So that's something that will always be my focus. That is something that always I will have pride in, but ultimately seeing those guys come back as proud alum is something also that we can't wait to share. Again, I'm excited about our upcoming year. I'm excited about our team. I am definitely excited about our staff. Our staff, without them, we wouldn't be where we are. Rob Summers, our offensive coordinator, Ryan Charball, our defensive coordinator, and Drew Joyce III, our special teams coach. They have done unbelievable jobs growing as coaches, growing our young men, and refining every piece of their profession and being the very best that they can and pouring into these young men. So I'm excited about the entire picture and entire scope and can't wait to share with our fans.
Dennis Gates, as I told you last time you were on, you have an open invitation anytime you want. We would love to have you. I am thrilled that you're going to be at Cleveland State for the foreseeable future. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. And we have to talk as the season creeps up on us a little bit.
Yes, indeed. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me. Again, go Vikes. We cannot wait for those doors to open. In actuality, this upcoming semester, fall semester, will be at full capacity in class, teaching and things like that. And my hat's off to our senior leadership team for protecting the culture of our institution. So thank you guys, and go Vikes.
All right, Dennis Gates, head coach of the Cleveland State Vikings. As always, we appreciate the time and the insight. We're going to step aside, take one more time out. On the other side of the break, Indians take 3 out of 4 in Detroit. We'll hear from Terry Francona and Shane Bieber, who got the win. Sports for CLE. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Life is starting to get back on track, and you can too. If you or your family have experienced financial hardship as a result of COVID-19, Tri-C can help with full tuition assistance. Safely get the in-demand degree or training you need with online and on-campus classes. Go to tric-edu to check out our programs and resources. So, what are you waiting for? Register now for summer classes. Tri-C is where futures begin.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Sports for CLE continues. The Indians made it 3 out of 4 in Detroit over the Tigers, 5-2. They beat the Tigers in an afternoon game. Harold Ramirez had 2 runs batted in. Eddie Rosario had a 2-run homer, an RBI double, 3 runs batted in. The winner, Shane Bieber. Bieber, 7 innings pitched, gave up just 1 hit in the 7th inning. It was a solo home run to Shope for the Tigers, and Bieber struck out 12, getting the win.
What did you like from Bieber today?
You know what, the best, I mean, the scoreboard was good, but I mean, he looked back to being Bieber, crisp. You know, he was coming out of the bullpen, he threw his cutter really well. Shoot, you know, how many times do we say it when a guy's pitching that well, let's spread it out where if he makes a mistake, it doesn't cost you a game. And that's what happened when Eddie hit the home run. I think he threw Scope 7 sliders in a row, and this last one, you know, was kind of middle, and he hit it for the home run. But because we had gotten a couple more runs, it wasn't the end of the world.
It was coming out of my hand better and like I'm used to, so didn't get to utilize it as much last outing. So I guess we tried to make up for it today. But you know, all in all, just only 2 righties in that lineup today to start, and just tried to use kind of a north-south attack and work with Hedgie. We were on the same page from pitch 1 really, and you know, just kind of fell in the rhythm. So it was nice to get back out there and feel familiar with you know, everything going on.
Shane Bieber dominant as he gets the win. You saw 12 strikeouts, 7 innings pitched, gave up just 1 run. It was a home run in the 7th inning, had a no-hitter going into that 7th inning. The win was Terry Francona's 700th as Indians manager.
It means as much that I didn't know. You know what, Hoinsey? I mean, I love it here. I don't need a certain amount of wins to verify how I feel here. I enjoy the people. That's what I care about. Is going through stuff with the people I really care about. That's the most meaningful to me by far.
Terry Francona on his 700th win as Indians manager. Indians take 3 out of 4 from the Tigers. Will be a game back of the White Sox pending the White Sox game today. They open up a 3-game series against the Blue Jays tomorrow over at Progressive Field, and then have a doubleheader Memorial Day, traditional doubleheader 3:05 against the White Sox. So a lot of baseball this weekend over at Progressive Field. Eli Morgan, minor leaguer, gets the call up. He will get the start against the Blue Jays. Has pitched well in AAA, so another young guy taking the mound for the Indians. That'll do it for this edition of Sports for CLE. We will see you again tomorrow at 4. Doug Lesmerises and Mark Munch Bishop are the scheduled guests tomorrow, 4 o'clock right here. We will see you then on Sports for CLE. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.